Barely a cloud in the sky. Temperatures right at 70 degrees. A light wind out of the northeast, and we're at Lambeau Field. Cowboys and the Packers. Dallas won the toss, chose to receive. And booted through the back of the end zone. And out comes another rookie. What a start it has been for Rain Dakota Dak Prescott. 155 pass attempts without an interception. That's the longest streak by a rookie to start a career. He is 8 passes without an interception away from breaking Tom Brady's record of number of pass attempts to start a career. Ezekiel Elliott for a gain of close to 3. Elliott 546 rushing yards so far this year. 11 rushing touchdowns, most in the NFL. Well, when you're picking up nearly 5 yards per carry, you're living large.
Last 3 weeks, he's been awfully impressive. He started to see some of the backside cuts that he missed in the first couple of weeks, and this has been an offense that's been on a roll, rushing the football for 3 games.
Prescott throws, it's intercepted, but it was blown dead before it ever got started. It looks like someone jumped the line of scrimmage on the Packers side.
Offside. Defense number 52, unimpeded to the quarterback. 5-yard penalty. Second down.
There's Clay Matthews out here, number 52, and he comes early, but Dallas going into a hurry-up offense. They're at the line of scrimmage, an empty set with Dak Prescott. Seemed to be a little bit of confusion on their part, but they're able to get Clay Matthews with a 5-yard penalty.
Green Bay is the least penalized team in the NFL so far this year. So they fake it to Elliott. And a throw to a wide open Jason Witten, and that's a first down to the 45-yard line.
The Cowboys, they come out there in their big personnel, and they've got one receiver out wide, and they're going to look like it's going to be run, play action. Dak Prescott, you've got to honor that with him keeping the football. Last week against the New York Giants, the Packers didn't have to honor Eli Manning and his running ability, but Prescott has shown a good ability to throw the ball accurately coming out to his left as he did on that play.
Elliott for a second time running room. And the rookie out of Ohio State picks up 11, and that's another Dallas first down. For 171 yards allowed. That's total over the first 4 games by this Green Bay defense, and only the 1995 49ers stingier.
This defense, nobody's been able to run the football against them. Some teams have abandoned the run early. Other teams, the Minnesota Vikings, did not match up well against this Packers front.
Play fake to Elliott. He can catch it out of the backfield. And he has another first down. Inside the 30 to the 28.
You talk about Dak and his ability through 5 games not to throw an interception, and he shows great patience. He's trying to get the ball down the field to Bryce Butler, but Butler gets jammed up just enough, even though he comes loose at the end. If he gets jammed up enough, Prescott doesn't like it. He comes right off of him to his outlet receiver, Elliott, underneath.
Elliott. And look, you can talk about the great stars on this Dallas team. The rookies, Elliott, Prescott. We know about Witten. No Des Bryant, hurt again today for Jason Garrett. His 6th full year as Cowboys head coach. 1 trip to the playoffs 2 years ago, and of course they lost that year when Des Bryant seemingly made a catch to set up a winning score, and it was overruled on replay. Gain of 4 on first down by Elliott. 2nd down and 6 at the Green Bay 24. In the hands of Beasley, their leading receiver, got a good block from Butler. And he's inside the 10. It's 1st and goal, Dallas. But Troy was just starting to say, You talk about Dallas and you talk about this offensive line.
Well, you got Bryce Butler, who does an excellent job blocking, and Blake Martinez, the linebacker, he's the only guy to try to come out and make a play on that ball. Once you make the good block with Butler, just nobody there to make a play on Beasley before he picks up a nice game.
Nickel even, score.
Now a shotgun, 1st and goal. Prescott, a fake to Elliott. And he's inside the 5, down to the 3. Prescott already has 3 rushing touchdowns this season.
Well, you have to honor this. I talked about it earlier. Right here, he crashes, and Prescott is reading this on the read option. As soon as they collapse, and you see Tyron Smith, the left tackle, he comes up on Jake Ryan, who would be responsible for scraping off the edge and taking the quarterback. So a well-designed play by offensive coordinator Linehan, blocking the guy responsible for the quarterback, and Prescott reading the end of line.
Boy, look at this. Power set. And a timeout is called, or is it a penalty flag? There's a flag in the back of the end zone.
12 players on the field. Defense. Half the distance to the goal. Remains 2nd down.
Already 2 penalties on this opening drive. We mentioned Green Bay, the least penalized team in the league. Mike McCarthy, what a year he's done. 8 of his 10 teams have been in the playoffs. 7 have won 10 or more in a season. And off to the 3-1 start here, but it's 2nd and goal. And they're going to throw it. Touchdown, Beasley. Beasley got his 1st touchdown of the season a week ago against Cincinnati, and appears to have his 2nd of the year on this opening drive. And what a drive it was by Dallas.
Yeah, that drive was too easy for the Dallas Cowboys. They run Beasley in motion. He comes back, and the Packers are in man-to-man coverage. They just run him out in the flat, and just no chance for them to make a play on him in coverage. It was Micah Hyde who was on Beasley, but because he's having to navigate the underneath coverage linebackers, Beasley's able to get a step and a well-thrown ball by Prescott. But to come out, Tom, they average here on the opening drive. We talk about the matchup of the offensive line and how where they're going to run the ball against this Packers defense. Average just under 6 yards a carry on the opening drive of this game.
Yep, 4 rushes, 23 yards.
The ruling on the field of a touchdown is under review.
Of course, every scoring play and every change of possession is looked at.
It's a question of whether he has possession of the ball as it's crossing the plane. That's a touchdown to me, but here we are on the 1st possession, going back to what happened in that playoff game as to what this ruling's going to be.
Love the line by Prescott when he said, every time I look for Cole Beasley, that guy's open. Mike Pereira, let's check in with you back in Los Angeles. Are you seeing anything that we might be missing right now?
Well, you know what I'm seeing? This is the old process of going to the ground. Is he going directly to the ground, or was he on his feet? And if they deem that he's going to the ground, then when the ball hits and comes out, it's an incomplete pass. You know, they've been really consistent in staying with calls that are being made in the field. But I think there's a strong notion here, because of what they've said about going directly to the ground, that they might consider
on the field stands. Touchdown.
So the judiciary says touchdown, Cole Beasley. We thank Mike Pereira as always. He'll be joining us throughout the rest of the afternoon.
Well, Mike brings up a good point. I mean, it's all about the process of the catch, and do you make a move? And if it was all one process, then yeah, you got to control the ball through the catch to the ground, and they deemed that he had possession, and once it crosses the goal line, it then was a touchdown.
Good snap, good hold, good kick by Dan Bailey. The last 5 meetings between the Packers and the Cowboys. Packers have won them all. 4 of them played at Lambeau, 1 at AT&T Stadium. The last time and the only time the Cowboys won in Green Bay was the first year that Aaron Rodgers took over as starter in 2008.
Well, you think back to last week's win for the Green Bay Packers. They ran the ball a season high 44 times in that game for 230 yards. And Mike McCarthy, when we visited with him, as you see this first touchdown allowed on the opening drive for the Packers defense, but Mike McCarthy talked about being able to control the clock and control the ball and really beat Dallas at their game, which they did a year ago. Now the circumstances were obviously different for the Cowboys, but they can't be real happy on that Packers sidelines the way the Dallas offense went right through them on the opening drive.
I don't know if anything in this world you could deem perfect, but that was as close to a perfect drive as a team can have. Prescott 4 of 4, and as you mentioned, they average almost 6 yards per rushing attempt. This is Ty Montgomery. We could be saying his name a lot today. Slips a couple of tackles, still on his feet, and up to the 25-yard line, tripped up by Keith Smith. So here comes a 32-year-old Chico, California native. First round pick in 05, took over after backing up Brett Favre for 3 years in 08. Aaron Rodgers, and look, you talked to him point blank about those very numbers. This is a guy that over the last number of years, every year he's 63, 65, 68%, and among the lowest in a long time.
Well, he came into this year with a career completion percentage of 65%, and obviously those numbers are well off of that mark. A lot of reasons for that beyond just the way Aaron has thrown the football.
Lacey trying to play through an ankle injury, picks up maybe a yard. Tackled by Sean Lee, Cowboys leading tackler. I mean, take a look at this. This season, the yards are down. Look at the passing yards. They're down, the lowest in the Aaron Rodgers era. And many turn back the clock after the 6 of those start to last year, the Week 7 game in Denver, when Rodgers threw for a career low 77 yards. Ever since that game, every number and category is way down. Passing yards, touchdowns, yards per attempt, the wins are down. Lacey to the 29, and bring up 3rd down.
I think it was in that Denver game when teams started playing the Packers offense just a little bit differently. You know, they started to play 2 deep looks and against their wide receivers and force them to try to create some separation, allow them to run the football, and they weren't able to do that consistently enough without Jordy Nelson. And the belief was once Jordy comes back, they're going to be back to themselves offensively, and it just hasn't worked quite that way.
3rd down and 6, good protection. And now Aaron flushed out of the pocket. He's going to run it. He'll pick up a 1st down to the 38-yard line. There is a penalty flag in the secondary. It's going to go against Dallas.
Illegal contact. Defense number 42. It's a 5-yard penalty. 1st down.
A veteran, strong safety, good player. Really become a good player year in and year out as Barry Church.
You go back and look at that last play, and Aaron Rodgers trying to throw the ball to the corner route here, and that's the contact that was made. That's where Rodgers was going with the football, and once that timing got off, he was able to tuck it and run. But some of those things where receivers have not been able to create separation, have not been able to get open.
Timeout. Dallas, their first.
The Cowboys going to spend their first time out here in the opening half. 8:10 to go, and the Cowboys out to a 7-0 lead. Well, football all day today, and then rolling right into baseball tonight. Game 2, National League Championship Series from historic Wrigley Field in Chicago. The Dodgers battled back to tie last night before the Miguel Montero Grand Slam. That's over on FS1. Clayton Kershaw will get the ball tonight for the Dodgers against Kyle Hendricks. Hendricks had a spectacular regular season. Take it to Lacy. And offline on the throw to Jordy Nelson.
And you see the frustration there by Aaron Rodgers, and these are just some of those types of throws. As Jordy Nelson, you know, he gets pretty good position there on Morris Claiborne, and yet Rodgers misses him, and that's a ball that we're used to just seeing in his sleep, that he would just stick right on his chest. And I think it's those kinds of throws that he's missed where people have just kind of wondered, you know, what's going on with some of the accuracy issues.
Flag thrown. This will be against Claiborne. Got tangled up with Jordy Nelson, and Claiborne saying, what else am I supposed to do?
So you got that sun too, right in Jordy Nelson, but the hand on the helmet.
Hands to the face. Defense. 5-yard penalty. Automatic. First down.
Of course, Dallas traded up, you may remember, to choose Claiborne in 2012 with a 6th overall pick. He's had his ups and downs, but they feel like he's playing better than at any point in his still very young career.
Well, there's no doubt. I mean, when you're the 6th overall pick, there's high expectations. He's playing his best football, and even Aaron Rodgers commented on how well he was playing for the Cowboys this year.
Give it to Lacy. Big running room for Eddie Lacy. Leapfrogs a defender, and he's inside the 30. Look at the big fella. He leaped right over Byron Jones.
You're going to see good movement along that offensive line, and then Eddie Lacy seeing the cutback lane, and then Justin Durant just simply overruns it. Excuse me. Damian Wilson overruns it, and Eddie Lacy showing that Ezekiel Elliott's not the only one who can hurdle.
This is something Aaron brought up earlier. They're going to give Lacy a break and put Montgomery in the backfield. They put it in the hands for the first time early on to Randall Cobb. Cobb coming off of his first monster game of this season. 9 catches, 108 yards in the win over the New York Giants.
Well, look, this offensive line for the Packers all week long, they've talked about how good the Cowboys offensive line is, arguably the best in football, but their line has done a good job as well. I think they've got something to prove, and that was a nice job up front and a big gain for this offense.
That's Montgomery. Jones slams him down very close to a first down. He might be just a hair short, which would bring up 3rd and a yard. Packers going to bring in an extra offensive lineman. They go up front with Bakhtiari, Taylor, Treader, a first-year starter, Lang and Balaga. Jason Spriggs, 78, has come on. The fullback, not sure he got there, Aaron Ripkowski. In fact, he didn't get there. All right, Troy Aikman, if it's short of a first down, it's 4th down and a yard. Is it in Mike McCarthy's nature to go early on?
Well, he's looking right now to see what it is. It looks to me like there's no decision to be made. He's going to go for it on 4th down. He just got jammed up right on the offensive line.
Dallas goes down the field on its opening drive, scores a touchdown. And on the first possession by Green Bay, down to the 20, it looked like Mike McCarthy would go for it. 4th down and a yard. He's elected to bring on Mason Crosby. And he'll put the Packers on the board with a 37-yard field goal try. Crosby has now made 40 straight at Lambeau from inside 40 yards.
It's sponsored by Southwest. Yes to low fares with nothing to hide. That's transparency.
Go back and take a look at that 3rd down play, and you see how Spriggs here, he's back in the fullback position as Lane Taylor is as well, and he just gets blown up. That defensive front slants hard down inside. They get no movement along the offensive line and a missed opportunity, and I really am a bit surprised that McCarthy didn't elect to go for it on 4th down.
Put it through the back of the end zone. Wondering about Eddie Lacy today. Came in with an injured ankle. Big man looked good right there. But Ginger over on the sideline.
Today's game on Fox is sponsored by Bud Light. Beer with your team on it.
Eddie Lacy a second ago gave a thumbs up as if to say he's all right. But you wonder, it certainly appeared as though Mike McCarthy wanted to go on 4th down and a yard a moment ago. It was very late to send out the field goal unit. First down throw. And a reception made by Terrence Williams, a first down to the 35. Let's check in downstairs with Aaron.
A couple things going on the Packers sidelines. Eddie Lacy, after that big run, guys, and I'm about to get trampled, came off the field and started testing out that ankle. Now the trainers are surrounding him. And then, as you mentioned, it looked like Mike McCarthy was going to go for it on 4th and 1. Obviously, they didn't. He turned around, was very upset with somebody on the staff here. And as I mentioned about Eddie Lacy, guys, trainers surrounding him. They're trying to figure out that cleat on his left foot.
All right, Aaron, thank you. You'll never know until after this one's over if he wanted to go for it. Ezekiel Elliott bottled up at the line of scrimmage by big Mike Daniels.
Well, the way that Mike McCarthy was looking at his call sheet on 4th down, it sure looked to me like he had no reservations about going for it. That's what his decision was going to be. And I saw him snap and yell something at someone down there, and maybe it was because Eddie Lacy was on the sidelines and couldn't get him back into the game, is why he then decided to go for the field goal and not go for it on 4th down.
Second down, Prescott. Too tall for Witten. It'll bring up 3rd down, and let's check in for the first time today with Carissa Thompson.
Thanks, Tom. A crazy game in New Orleans. A ton of offense. Breeze and Newton combined for 7 touchdowns, but it ends on a game-winning 52-yard field goal by Saints rookie Will Lutz. Panthers drop to 1-5. Tom Troyer.
Man, what a tough year it's been for the defending NFC champion Carolina Panthers. Starting in week 1 and only 1 win.
Well, the Packers defensively have been able to get the Cowboys into 3rd and long. Dallas has been good on this down all year.
Well, they're the best in the NFL. 50%. Prescott rolls, throws, and it's caught by Witten, but he'll be denied first down yardage. So the Packer defense will get off the field on this second Dallas possession.
This offensive line, again, affording Dak Prescott time in the pocket. He's trying to get the ball to the outside. He reads the coverage well and does not throw the ball into danger, rolls back out to his left. Witten just not deep enough to pick up the first down with the reception. But some of the things that Prescott's been able to do, and usually you confuse a young quarterback and you catch him throwing into some various looks defensively. He just has not done that.
Jones on the punt, and Davis a fair catch at the 14-yard line. Well, Rodgers and the Packers move the ball up and down the field. Their first go around, but the Cowboys lead it 7-3.
Today's game is sponsored by Chili's $10 3-for-me deal. Chillin' since '75. By Microsoft Surface, the official tablet of the NFL. And by Corona Extra, who invites you to find your beach.
Well, I think our distinguished crew spent the entire weekend over at Luna Coffee in De Pere, Wisconsin. While they were bouncing off walls last night. So a first down. Play action and Rodgers to throw it and down the middle of the field, and then it's jarred loose. Was that a catch by Jordy Nelson and then a fumble? And yes is the decision.
The catch, a fumble, and a recovery by Dallas.
Take a look and see if he definitely had. Yeah, looked to me like he had possession. That's a point of emphasis for the league right now. Anything close, they're going to rule incomplete, but it sure looked like a catch and a fumble. Jordy Nelson's had a tough couple of weeks. He had 3 drops last week, one of which led to an interception off his hands in the red zone. And here in the first quarter, he puts the ball on the ground and gives the Cowboys great offensive field position.
And of course, they'll make sure they'll take a look at it as they do on every change of possession or turnover. But it'd be hard to imagine, as Barry Church was the one who delivered the hit to jar it loose, that this would be overturned. Of course, Nelson's come all the way back from the ACL injury, missing all of last year. Not quite at 100%. Sometimes those things take a lot longer than just 12 months.
Yeah, I talked to him on the field before the game. He feels like he's back where he was, but I think they always feel that way.
Play action fake. Prescott steps away from trouble and is able to deliver a strike to Williams, a first down.
It is so good by Dak Prescott in the pocket, and he's able to drop back and just have the presence and feel to step up and not panic and then deliver a good ball to Terrence Williams. And that's probably what has impressed me the most about Dak Prescott is his ability, as you see. He just sets the record.
Yep.
163. It's ironic that it's Tom Brady's record who he breaks, because a lot of comparisons between those two guys on what's going to happen when a decision has to be made when the starter resumes. Bill Belichick in 01 stayed with Tom Brady when Bledsoe was ready. What's going to happen with the Dallas Cowboys?
Well, you better buckle up there, Hall of Famer. I'm going to be asking your opinion of that a little bit later on. That's a hot topic in Big D.
I'll get ready.
Into the NFL record books goes Dak Prescott. He's hit on 7 of 8, 79 yards and a touchdown. And 163 pass attempts to begin his career without an interception. Had an eye on Ezekiel Elliott there. It's incomplete.
Go back and take a look at that previous play. And this is what Dak Prescott did not do in college. He did not take the ball from under center. He didn't run play action, and he didn't drop back. But on this play, as he works up into the pocket, he's not watching the pass rush. He's just managing the pocket as you should. As a quarterback, he does it outstanding. And there's Terrence Williams working across the field. And guy's had some lapses this year, but he has really stepped up and had a nice start to his season. He's made some nice plays, especially with the injury to Dez Bryant here in the last few weeks.
Packers have some injuries in that secondary. They're without their Pro Bowler Sam Shields. That's Alfred Morris, and he picks up a yard. And then yesterday, when we were at practice, Quentin Rollins, a very valuable member, as a third corner in that Green Bay secondary, got hurt. James Starks was injured last week, left the team after a death in his family, and so it's been a rough week for Mike McCarthy.
Yes, it has. I mean, they've had a lot of injuries this year, and Mike McCarthy's first thing he talked about when we visited with him yesterday.
Last 3rd and 9, Green Bay came up with a stop. Blitz coming, and it's jarred loose and intercepted. The ball pops into the air, and that is a second interception for Joe Thomas. What a huge play by this Green Bay defense.
Looked like it was Julius Peppers who came off the edge and is able to get Prescott's hand just as he's trying to let the ball go.
So one pass attempt after breaking the all-time record. That is the first interception by Prescott.
Well, we see as Julius Peppers comes around the edge, he's able to get a hand on the ball on Prescott as he's trying to deliver it, and just a great opportunity there to keep points off the board by this Green Bay Packers defense after the Cowboys got the ball with great field position to start that drive. It's a great job on their part.
And Troy, I'm being told that is not going to be ruled an interception. That is going to be ruled a fumble that never touched the ground. So
most
Prescott
interceptions
still,
don't.
no, they don't.
319.
Lacey back in the game off the left side, and that'll be a gain of 3. So again, to repeat, this is not an interception by Prescott.
You watch Peppers here as he comes off the edge around Doug Free, and he just keeps playing. You know, for a guy who's his age, now in his 15th year, they're utilizing him and trying to keep his snaps down so he can be fresh on these third down situations. He makes a key play in this ballgame.
He is now 36 years young. Catch made by Justin Perillo. That's another area of injury for these Packers. Their regular starter is Jared Cook. He's out, having left for a second straight game with an ankle injury. So today they go with Rodgers and Perillo.
Well, Eddie Lacy's worth keeping an eye on. We talked about it coming into the game. We've heard Aaron Andrews' report, but he's hobbled walking around. It looks like it's giving him some problems. You just don't know how much longer he's going to be able to go.
Hey, 5-0. Look at the 8. Look at Highland. 319. 319.
Third down and 3, 4-man rush. Rodgers looking around. Boy, you give him that much time and you are good as cooked. And he finds Cobb to the 45. That looked like the old Aaron Rodgers right there. So elusive in the pocket and delivers a strike to keep the drive alive. When we return, after a word from your